Aussies in mortgage repayment hell. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your hashtag not sponsored cheap coffee. Let's have a look at this article which is painting the difficulties in meeting mortgage repayments by Australians, particularly now that the cash rate has increased yet again. But there's a bit of funny business here in this article, guys. Okay, there's a bit of funny business here. So let's check this out, okay? Because I'm getting sick and tired of everyone making this same mistake. Everyone thinks we live in the 50s, in the 1950s, where household income was only one salary. They think we still live like that. They think one salary is enough to buy a house. Here's a reality check, everyone. Families, households, usually have two people that are earning income now. Now, it isn't like the 80s where you didn't have as many women working. There was still a significant number of women working from home, as housewives. Now, they all went off and worked, so you've got two incomes that the family unit can use to achieve their goals. And as a family, the goal is to, among other things, to buy a house. So that means you need to look at two salaries when you're looking at the feasibility of buying a property. And then if you look at that, two decent salaries, 90 grand each, that's 180 grand. The numbers don't look that bad. It's not as shocking as some people tend to portray. And here's the harsh reality. There are always going to be some people that will never be able to afford a house. Okay, if you've got a very low-skilled job, you're far below the average wage, you may be a renter for your whole life. That's just the reality of it. And, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you want to get into housing, then you need to increase your skills so you can demand more money for what you do. And I know everyone wants to get their house just like their parents did in the 80s for dirt cheap, but look at how much your parents were earning back then. So let's have a look at this. So Finder's Research Finder, so a marketing business, reveals the average Aussie salaries, and its average, is unsuitable to keep paying mortgage repayments. All this fear. And you can't, I was looking at a Facebook group just before. It's like Aussie first home buyers, and people are going, the RBA is breaking me, it's getting too high, and one of the idiots in the comments there, and I can't comment on these things because then I'll just get into a fight with a bunch of nitwits. It's corporate greed. It's all repeating the left-wing tropes that it's just greed that causes inflation. And the problem is, people have this twisted worldview. They don't understand reality, and they have as much of an influence on our political system as the average voter. This is why I'm leading more and more to the argument that we need to either have, you need to pass a minimum test to vote or just make it voluntary. Anyway, let's have a look at this one. So, Aussie home buyers are needing nearly double the average full-time salary to be able to afford a home, with the pain only increasing after the National Reserve Bank hiked the cash rate again. Isn't that exactly what I said? So we need double a two-income household. That's normal. That's what we have nowadays. It's a very drastic decision. We see it in the homeschooling community. Rachel's mentioned this, that we have, families where usually the mum decides to stay home and raise the kids and homeschool the kids, and they have to make a financial sacrifice and a lifestyle change. I mean, we're in a little bit of a different situation because Rachel will homeschool the kids and all of that, but she can also work on our business. So once the kids are in bed, she can do some hours here and there working on things. And this is last weekend she did like 20 hours in 3 days, but that's not normal. I'm not that bad a husband. But you've got to understand, have we forgotten that we need two incomes now? I thought that was common knowledge. The latest Finder research revealed the minimum household income required to afford the mortgage average Australian house is $182,000, while those owning units need $130,000. Okay, so $182,000, that's two 90 grand incomes. That's not unattainable by average people, or if you've got a university qualification, or if you've got a trade. Not at all. You could pull that in as a couple. You probably wouldn't get to spend any time in the house that you live in, but that's how we do it these days, guys. The average full-time salary of almost $96,000, according to ABS data, leaving homeowners dipping deep into their pockets to be able to... No, okay. Here's the thing. Minimum household income, you need 182 grand. The average full-time salary is 96. So there you go. You just need 2 people working. How is this news? Have they intentionally made this mistake? I suspect they have, to paint a grim picture. We're not in the time anymore where one person can buy a house. At least not, and raise it and support a family and go on holidays. That's, I don't even know if the boomers could do that. Maybe. Probably the generation before it, the silent generation. That's not the world we live in. Do people really believe this? Finder's head of consumer research, Graham Cook, said the prospect of owning a home is dwindling for new buyers trying to get into the market. Yeah, it's because you need to hook up with someone, and the two of you need to work together to build a family. That's what a home is for. Maybe I'm just too old. I'm too old-fashioned. Because now, I mean, 30% of people, this is the real crisis we're facing as a generation, the number of people not having kids. It's not the people that are having kids are having less. You've got a huge number of people now, women, that aren't having any children. That's what's happening. Are they falling for this Sex and the City bullshit fantasy that you can do it all yourself? None of us can. You know, men and women need to work together to achieve things. You need couples to do this. People are looking at stretching themselves financially in order to purchase a property. I don't even know how to respond to that. While it's not impossible, there are lots of things to consider for those aspiring to own a home. Okay, I mean, this is all just bullshit. Of course you got to stretch yourself. You got to work hard, save money, and sacrifice. And maybe not just for a home, maybe for other things that happen in your life. Shit can happen. The Reserve Bank of Australia lifted the cash rate by 25 points today to 4.35%. The latest rate rise means having $182,000 annual salary is now the minimum income to afford the average home in the country. Yeah, one person. Okay, if you're on 182 grand, you're doing pretty well. Remember, the top 1%, it's like 350,000 plus a year, something like that. So 182, good. You know, you're doing well. But most people do it as a couple. Well, have we just forgotten? Does that not happen anymore? Finder data revealed those looking to buy a home in Sydney will need an average household income. Okay, so we've gone from salary here to household income there. Now, I'm sure the average person will pick up this bullshit and see through it, of $261,000. So you need to be earning, to both of you need to be pulling in 130 grand, which you can do. The wages are going to be higher in Sydney for professionals, but, I mean, Sydney is not going to be the place where an average person or a below average person can afford a house. You need to move to cities like mine, Brisbane. Melbourne, 171,000. Okay, so the couple can get away with about 100 grand less, 90 grand less. Brisbane, okay, you only need to be pulling in 75,000. Canberra, 186,000. So, okay, I mean, they're trying to paint this picture of I don't know. One viewer reached out to me, been watching for years, and he said, I thought it was all going to come crashing down with COVID and prices and that, and he bought his house when he had a kid, and now it's doubled in value or something insane. And he's going, okay, mortgage is going to go up by a couple of hundred a week, who cares? I can manage it. It's not going to be the end of the world at all. I think he wrote, he wishes he bought like 3 of the things because of the growth. Even if, here in Brisbane particularly, even if we see a 30% fall in property, if you bought a few years ago, you're still going to be laughing. Because I can tell you, Southeast Queensland, the demand is not going to disappear. Not with the projected population growth for the next 20 years. It is not going to disappear at all. If you want to look at property forecast, look at population growth statistics. people may be bitching and moaning about how expensive it is in Australia, but compare it to other parts of the world. We're a nice, boring colony on the edge of the planet with a stable society, a legal system you can trust. It's not that bad. The weather is pretty good. Sure, we got a few stupid politicians that want to ruin stuff like the Greens, but, people are learning. They'll grow up. Mr. Cook said the latest RBA decision would mean more pain for homeowners. Mortgage holders are already on the ropes. The last thing they want was another slug from the RBA, he said. I mean, yeah, there are going to be some people that are doing it tough. It's going to suck, but they need the pain. They need the pain to slow down the economy, because apparently what's going to happen is that if you're a small business person and your mortgage goes up, your costs have all gone up, energy prices are going up because we're pushing it all into this renewable stuff that screws the base load, you're going to then drop your prices to get more people in the door and then affect inflation. Yep, that's... Explain to me how it'll work, guys. I'm becoming more cynical. I think shipping costs are going to have more of an impact on a lot of things. It's also psychology, honestly, isn't it? It's the psychology factor of a lot of people are going to see, rates are rising, so they'll tighten their belt, they'll plan. Aussies with a $590,000 mortgage will now fork out roughly $1,345 more per month than they were in April last year. Okay, that sounds scary. It sounds very scary, but we are coming off a 0.1% cash rate up to 4.35%. If you thought 0.1% is going to be something that you ever see again in your life, that wasn't a once-in-a-lifetime event, that you didn't lock in your cash rate at that insanely low, I got below 2%. I know a lot of you did too. My neighbor got, 1.76%. If you thought that wasn't a once-in-a-lifetime event, I don't know what you're drinking. Because, okay, so they're comparing it to a once-in-a-lifetime cash rate. So it makes it look all scary, where the people are probably going, shit, yep, we're paying a normal mortgage again. Oh, look at that. We're actually getting some money from the bank because of that cash we got sitting there in our emergency fund. Isn't that nice? That's a huge amount of extra money to be spending on your mortgage, especially when the cost of almost everything else is going up. Bum, bum, bum. Let's have a chat about this one, guys. I'm hoping the music's working in this recording. We'll have to see. But nevertheless, I honestly think this is deceptively written to paint a bleak picture of those going into the housing market. Now, the problem is, I've been on Twitter and seeing some of the pathetic, defeatist attitude of some people of even hoping or aspiring about getting a house. And most people want to own a house because there's stability and certainty. But some of them are just so defeatist. And, I mean, is all of this to blame? Is social media, is sharing all this shit, is seeing the curated bullshit lives of people to blame, that they think they'll never aspire to anything, so they give up? I mean, this is a deceptive article. This is rubbish. You can't be comparing individual salary to household income. So here's the sad reality. You need two people to earn to earn enough money to buy a house, or you need to be earning significantly more than the average. Houses are not going to be we shouldn't even look at median income anymore, because you've got a big chunk of society that can't work, that don't earn enough, that might be on government support. They're never going to be able to buy a house, and it's unreasonable to expect them to be able to take on the burden of a mortgage to buy a house. We should have enough supply and incentivize investors to provide properties that are low maintenance, low cost for these people. But that's not how we do things in Australia, is it? Look at the Greens yesterday. They want to penalise landlords for increasing rent, higher rates. Yeah, that's going to increase supply. That's going to reduce rent costs, sure. Anyway, these are just pissing me off, these articles, guys. Take care. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one. And I will see you next time. Bye for now. I hope you won on the races today, guys. We went out to lunch with the kids at the pub. I didn't win anything, but Spent 200 bucks on a good meal. It was worth it.